So, what are the negatives or the disadvantages of using federalism as the basis of our government? One of the major negatives is that because you're electing local officials, state officials, and national officials, there are just tons of people that get elected. Over 500,000 people in this country are elected officials. And this does two things. Number one, it's really expensive to conduct all these elections. But number two, it leads to what's called voter fatigue. Voter fatigue is the idea that many Americans feel intimidated by all these elected officials. Like, here's an example of a ballot, and many of these positions, like, could you actually describe like what they do? When you walk in to vote on election day, many people don't even know who these people are. They don't know what the jobs are. It's intimidating, and it sort of just makes them want to not vote because they feel ignorant about the process. So this is definitely a negative: is how many officials are actually elected as a result of federalism. Also, it tends to promote selfishness. So, for example, we saw this with the coronavirus sort of preparations that states were making. States, when power is given to them and they're left up to their own decision making, will make decisions that benefit them, and they don't necessarily care about other states. So, for example, you saw this when some states were quick to open up because that benefited them. They didn't think about the impact that might have on surrounding areas with travel and stuff like that, or an issue like the legalization of marijuana. Certain states have legalized marijuana and have made a lot of money by doing so, and it's helped their economy. But like neighboring states around them are like feeling the effects of that. Like, they might see actually an increase in DUIs because people are purchasing in the state and traveling across state lines, right? So like but the states that are legalizing it aren't necessarily thinking about the impact that it has on others. So federalism does promote some selfishness amongst the states. And also, it definitely results in conflict and confusion amongst the states. When we deal with a new issue for the first time, oftentimes we struggle to figure out whose job it really is to deal with that issue, whether it's a state issue, a national government issue, a local issue. Hurricane Katrina is a great example of that. A couple years back, disastrous storm that hit New Orleans. All levels of government really failed to properly deal with this natural disaster that hit the city of New Orleans, because we've never seen like a major metropolitan city really be devastated by a hurricane like this. So like local officials thought it was the state's job, state thought that like the national government should be doing it, and everybody kind of pointed fingers at each other. And because there's no blueprint on how to deal with this, we didn't know whose responsibility it was to deal with this. Unfortunately, Americans needlessly lost their lives while we were waiting to figure out which level of government was best prepared to respond.